What's going on, everybody? This is Tony the Tinter, and I would like and I what I would like to do is I would like very much to welcome you to the first live stream of Tent and Car Audio Concepts. Right now we're just working out the kinks and the bugs and everything, and trying to get everything to where it's you know uh, linked up, set up, and everything. Our stick of the day is going to be Alma Forte. We do enjoy fine cigars in the car audio window tint world. Got to have a little class, you know what I'm saying? And I am Tony, 12-volt Tony, and I'm a master installer. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to take a little time out to share some vital information with a lot of the car audio enthusiasts. Um, what this is about, um, traditionally, when you buy a brand new car, the way they make them now is they try to include everything within the car audio system to make it sound good for you. They want you driving off the lot sounding good and everything, jamming and you know. But unfortunately, imagine this. Imagine you like rap music, or you like music with a little bit of a bottom or a subwoofer, an 808. Well, a lot of the newer vehicles, they don't incorporate the lower bass, the lower boom. This is so funny because I remember there was a movie called Coming to America. And in that movie, whenever the different kings from the different parts of the region would come into the room, they would have to have dancers, and they have all these bands come in, and they would set the tone, and they would play this music, and then the king and the queen would come walking in, they come marching in, so they would make an entrance. Now, reason I say that is because a lot of people use their car audio as a form of expression. Some people like their music just where they can hear it in the car. They don't want it to be heard outside of the car. Some people want you to hear them coming from blocks and blocks and blocks away, miles away. And you're like, oh, there's such and such. Oh, there's such and such. I hear them coming. I hear them pulling up. Well, then you also have people that are actually musicians. And these type of people that are actually musicians, they want their music to be finely tuned. Finely tuned. So I said that to say that no matter how you listen to music, you want your music catered to specifically fit your needs, which is okay. It's okay. Which brings us to da 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 da. This little doodad right here. This is a piece by Pac Audio. And this piece is called the SNI-35. This was the holy grail of car audio back in the day. And what made the SNI-35 so neat was because it allowed you to add subwoofers to your existing factory car radio, and it allowed you to expand on it. Now, when you're adding on to your car audio system, you can use what they call a high signal and then go into the amplifier, or you can use what they call a low signal. And that low signal is usually carried through what they call RCA jacks, See if I got any RCA jacks laying around. Let's just look at these right here. Let me grab these up. These are these are male to female RCA jacks. And what those do is they carry the musical signal from one piece of equipment to another, and it allows the music to transfer. Okay, well, you might say to yourself, that sounds simple enough. That sounds easy. No problem. Okay, so my question to the automotive makers and the auto industry people, why wouldn't they just put RCA outputs on their factory radios so that you can add extra equipment, amplifiers, woofers, speakers? Well, let me show you what's missing. Okay, that is an amazing stick. Yeah, yes, it is amazing. Let me show you what's missing. Now, this, and it doesn't matter what kind of radio it is, it's just a little cheapy radio. But what's missing from the factory radio are these little RCA circles right here, the red and the white ones. Those are the reason that you can't get sound. Well, and then also that's an aftermarket radio. I mean, it's just a little cheapy aftermarket radio. Well, that's clearly the reason why it's hard to transfer sound. Hold on for me just a second. Okay. That's the reason why it's clearly harder to transfer sound, because your factory radio doesn't have those little red and white circles on the back of the radio. So how are you going to get that music to an amplifier? Well, what you tend to have to do is you have to use the SNI-35. And what that SNI-35 does, it's got the little RCA holes right there made into it. And then you've got this box right here. And those wires, the wires connect. You touch those to the speakers. You connect them to the speakers. You connect them to the speakers, and it allows you to take a high audio input from a speaker and transfer it into a low level signal. So now you've got that low level signal going into the amplifier. Yay! You've got your music from the radio going to the amplifier. The only problem with that is that new auto industry makers, what they try to do, they program the radios with an internal DSP. And what that means is that they take an inexpensive speaker. Some can be expensive, but work with me. They take a speaker that's cost efficient or cost effective to make, and they install them into the vehicle, and then they tune them to the radio. So when you're getting that signal out of the radio, it's not necessarily the best signal for your woofers, an 8-inch, a 10-inch, a 12-inch, a 15-inch subwoofer. It's not the best signal, and it's also a low signal. So sometimes those RCAs can put out a signal that's so low to where it can cause a strain on an aftermarket amplifier. So you've got a problem. You've got that signal may not be as rich and clear and as high as you need it to be. So what a lot of automotive industries do, they add a factory amplifier, such as what is it, Sony Pioneer, a Premier, a Bose. Anytime you look at a door speaker on a car and you see a logo and or an emblem for a system, what that means is that, for instance, on a lot of the Jeeps, the Jeep Wranglers and stuff, sometimes Alpine will go in and they'll say, okay, well, we're going to put a little teeny tiny amp in there just to make it a little bit louder, and it's going to be tuned to that DSP. Okay, so now you've got an amplifier on your factory wires that are putting out maybe 200 watts. Now, without that factory amplifier, you're getting a signal that's too low. So your signal's it's too high, or it's too low. Work with me, because this is why we're having this entire conversation. The reason that we're having this entire conversation, again, is because this piece right here, the Pac SNI-35, it's an amazing piece. I've probably installed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of this piece right here. But the problem is that if you install a piece like this in an amplified system and you catch your signal in the wrong spot, you're gonna run into a lot of problems. You're gonna create a lot of damage. So again, let me say that by any means, I'm not saying that the Pac piece is a bad piece. No, what I'm saying is that the Pac piece is designed, I'm not really sure how many watts it can handle, but what I'm saying about this piece is that it is a truly amazing piece if it's used correctly. And I love Pac audio, by the way. I don't know where I would be without Pac audio. Okay. So if you've got a factory amplifier, you got a factory amplifier in your vehicle, and you add the SNI-35, and then you add an aftermarket amplifier, you can cause problems. You can cause a lot of problems, because you can't put the power from a factory amplifier against the power of an aftermarket amplifier. An aftermarket amplifier is an amplifier where you go to the stereo shop, you order it wherever you get it from, but it's a standalone amplifier. So you can't add a standalone amplifier to a system that's already amplified. That's the problem that we've been facing for years. That's the problem with the newer model vehicles. Okay. So if you want to enhance the system, how do you add an amplifier? Well, this piece right here, this piece right here, this is one of many remedies. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite remedies right here. This is a piece by Audio Control. It's the LC7 Pro, and we use a lot of the LC2 Pros. The LC7 gives you full control. It gives you full control of your audio system, and the LC2 gives you full control over the bass. And let me see here for a minute. The basic thought process. We're gonna call it a basic thought process. Hold on. Let me get rid of let me turn my fireplace off. Okay. There you go. Now that get rid of that hum. So what it is that when you get into something like the LC2 Pro or the LC7, it allows you to put a certain amount of power to this. And this box knows that you're putting power to it, and it keeps you from harming your factory amplifier, but it still allows it to put up to so many watts. Rule of thumb, we try to keep it under 200 watts going into these pieces. I've saw people use as much as 400 watts, 400 watts going into the LC2s and the LC7s. I'm not recommending that at all, but I'm just saying that if you were to use the SNI-35, if you were to use the SNI-35 and you catch your signal in the wrong place, or you accidentally shoot power from your amplifier towards the radio, you are going to be into some serious problems. So why not use a unit that's safe for the vehicle? Hands down. Hands down. You take a Ford pickup truck, 20, any of the Fords that are pretty much 2012, 2016 and up, and you try to run an SNI-35 and you're shooting power the wrong way, you're going to not only damage the radio, but a lot of the factory radios have built-in air condition controls. So now you've knocked out the air conditioning system, you've knocked out the radio. Now you're looking at having to spend anywhere from 2 to 3 grand to replace the factory radio and be right back where you started. Okay. The reason I'm saying that is because a lot of the seasoned, we're gonna call them seasoned, a lot of the seasoned car audio people from my generation, mainly my generation, they don't understand why this piece right here, this piece is such an amazing piece, and the price on this is pretty much under $30. Okay, so a lot of people go into a car audio shop and they're already thinking this piece right here. Now there were a lot of I'm going to say copycats, or a lot of generic copies of this product. And they were made so poorly to where sometimes you could open them up and they just fall apart in your hands and you'd have to put tape around them. So this piece, the SNI-35, it's an amazing piece. It's an incredible piece. It's made to where you don't ever have to put black tape around them to keep them in place. These are very well built, and you can also hide them in your B pillar. Your B pillar is actually it's the metal part of the truck where the seat belt attaches right by the headrest. So if you're having to catch a signal there, this piece hides easily in the B pillar. Holy grail for older vehicles. This piece again, under 30 bucks. Way to go. This piece right here is what we call the Epic Center Micro. So what the Epic Center Micro is, the Epic Center Micro, it's an LC2. It's safe for your vehicle, and it's also an Epic Center. That piece usually runs about under 300 bucks. So when you walk into a car audio shop and someone's saying, we would actually prefer you use an LC2 Pro, LC7, or you could even use a piece by pack. They have harnesses that plug into the factory radio, and then they'll give you RCA jacks. Either way it go, that $200 to $300 wire harness or high to low level is going to save you money. It's going to sound better, and it's also going to be safer for your vehicle. So be prepared to purchase one of those if you have a newer vehicle. Take your mind off of the just the regular um, non-powered high to low levels. Also, something really good about the LC2 Pro and the LC7 and the Epic Center Micro is that they have built-in sensors. So when your speakers are moving, they'll turn on. So you don't have to worry about running you don't have to worry about running wires to your fuse box or tapping into some other fuse source to power on your system. And the reason I say that is because when your stereo system is really, really loud, sometimes it can drop below 12 volts. And so if you're catching your remote wire from a different section in the vehicle, what happens is that what'll happen is that you're dimming the power somewhere else. That power's got to go somewhere. So why not just use the LC2 Pro or the LC7, and then that way it's going to give you a remote out wire from that unit so that you can turn your amplifiers on and off. Now, that is a huge plus. But sometimes if someone drives near your vehicle and they have a loud stereo system, sometimes it could cause your stereo system to turn on by itself, but it'll only stay on for about 10 seconds and then it'll turn off. I mean, it is an amazing way to go. So that's one of the biggest pitfalls as far as it's a plus, but it's a pitfall trying to convince seasoned car audio people that have kind of been out of it for a while, and then they're getting back in and they're wanting their cars to sound good. It's tough explaining to them that the way technology is and the way technology has changed, you're going to need a better piece as a high to low level inverter. You can definitely change out your factory radio. You can definitely do that. But a lot of people don't want to make those type of modifications until the vehicle is at least 3 to 5 years old. Then people start saying, okay, I'm going to change out my factory radio. And then also, a lot of the newer vehicles come equipped with Apple CarPlay, wireless Apple CarPlay, phone mirroring. So they give you a lot at the dealership within the vehicle to where you really don't have to update the vehicle head unit. The only problem is that a lot of the factory radios don't put out a lot of power. So an aftermarket's gonna always make your system louder, clearer. You're gonna have more control. But a lot of the factory radios have built-in DSPs and stuff like that, which brings us to put me back on the stage here. That way we'll have vocals. That was a pretty cool little notification they gave me. The reason I brought this to the forefront is because this is an audio controlled DM810. And what I love about those, that this piece allows you to individually control every speaker in that car and tune it with a laptop computer. I love DSPs. You take your computer, you can program it, you can control everything, and it's just an amazing piece. You can also do optical out, and optical out is definitely the way to go. It allows you to connect an aftermarket head unit to the DSP by a cord that looks similar to a telephone cord. So now you don't have to worry about all those different RCAs running, along the vehicle. You don't have to worry about hiding wires. Now you've just got that one wire and maybe a non-wire that you're using to for your wire run. So again, you can go optical out or you can go non-wire, but the DSP gives you the ability to control each and every individual speaker in the car, left, right, front, rear. I've used DSPs on setups of up to eight different speakers. So to me, I love DSPs. I enjoy working with them. Um, they're just the way to go. Um, what else? I'm gonna probably say, if you do have any questions, I do check my comments. This video's we've been going for about 30 minutes now, so we're gonna go ahead and make our outro. But I hope that now you understand a little bit about high to low levels. Oh, wait a minute. We almost left out a huge factor, a huge factor. Where are my Latinos at? Where are my Hispanics and Latinos? So this is what I wanted to show you guys. Let me remove this one. And what I wanted to show you, another amazing product, no, an amazing feature about this product is that this is the Epic Center. This is the audio control. It's the Epic Center and the LC2 Pro, both built into one. Well, the Epic Center, let me just say this. This is your Epic Center right here. Well, they managed to combine the Epic Center and the LC2 Pro together, and it is now called the Epic Center Micro. Right there, the Epic Center Micro, which is an amazing piece. The reason I like this piece, this is where it's gonna get rough, okay? This is where it's gonna get rough. It's gonna get rough for a lot of people. I enjoy listening to Hispanic music, Tejano music. I enjoy it. I was lucky enough to live with a Hispanic family. I lived with the Hispanic family for probably about 2 years. I had a buddy of mine, he was opening a car stereo shop, and he said, "Hey, move on up here to Gainesville, and I need you to help me get this shop off the ground." I said, "All right, not a problem. I'll come up there, I'll move in, I'll help you, and we'll get it off the ground, then I'll come back home." Well, I stayed up there for about 2 years, and within the time I was there, I was able to embrace the Hispanic culture. There was a lot of Tejano music, a lot of Mexican music. This is where I got familiar with La Mafia and a guy by the name of Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. Shout out to Bad Bunny. So the reason I'm saying that is because when you're living in the Hispanic culture, you're sharing the ups, the downs, and when it's time to celebrate, it's time to celebrate. So um, my friends would all, they pop open the beers, turn on the Hispanic music, and what I got a chance to understand was that with rap music, you've got the 808, you've got the boom, 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 boom. Well, with Hispanic music, Tejano music, Mexican music, um, they have a lot of horns. They may have certain types of pianos, saxophones, trumpets, and you want it loud. but you also want to be able to bring out a rumble in that trumpet or a rumble in that saxophone. You want your woofers to still move. You want it clear, but you want it to sound like it's a you want them woofers moving. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how else to describe it. So with this piece, again, the Epic Center Micro. The Epic Center Micro. What this gives you the ability to do, it's two pieces in one. Not only is it a high to low level, so you can get your signal from the factory radio, it's also a bass enhancer and bass restorator. It restores the bass from where it's missing. So, what does that mean? That means that if you're listening to rap music, or you're listening to country, or you're listening to R&B, or if you're listening, yeah, if you're listening to those genres, you can adjust your Epic Center with the control knob. Um, I've got a bunch of them laying around here somewhere, but it allows you to adjust the Epic Center for music that has harder bass. Then you put on classical, you put on maybe solo jazz, or you put on Tejano or Hispanic music. It allows you to adjust the Epic Center and give those sounds, those live instruments, a lower bass signal. So the Epic Center Micro, you're getting two pieces in one, versus you used to pay the same amount of money or just a little bit lower for just the Epic Center, or just the LC2 Pro. Well, they were able to combine the LC2 Pro and combine the Epic Center Micro, and now you've got an incredible piece that that does multiple functions, and it also gives you your remote out. So, with that being said, we're about 30 minutes into the video, 35 minutes, and I would like to thank everybody from joining in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the amp rack that I built again. And some of you are probably saying, well, where does that thing go in? I'll show you right here. It went into this vehicle right here. That was one of the builds that we did for Land Rover. And it turned out to be an amazing build. There was a lot that went into it. We did Focal, we did DM810, DSP. We made sure that we went with high-res amplifiers. It was an amazing build. And with that being said, this is 12 Volt Tony, and I'm glad that I could share. This is my first stream, so we're going to be working out a lot of kinks, working out a lot of bugs, we're going to figure out, should we put a little bit more humor in the video, or should we be a little bit more serious? I don't know. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining in. And this is 12 Volt Tony. And thanks to our sponsor, Tent and Car Audio Concepts. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.